Give praise, esteem, and honor to the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. John 5:39. I'm finna be brief. Ain't gonna take too much time. Ain't gonna take too much time. Let me get around there. And it says, search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life. And they are they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of Elohim in you. So what we finna look at is, let's look at Deuteronomy chapter 11. We're going to look at the early and latter rain. 11 and 11. Deuteronomy 11 and 11. See what we can get out of this here. Lead it on up in the Friday. Oh, praise the Lamb. Ain't been no days off since last Monday when it comes to this here. Since last Monday night. Oh, make it 11 and 10. For the land whither thou go in to possess it is not as the land of Mizraim from whence you came out, where thou sow thy seed and water it with thy foot. Dang. Oh. And water it with thy foot, as a garden of herbs. But the land whither you go to possess it is a land of hills and valleys, and drink water of the rain of Shamaim. A land which Yahuwah thy Elohim care for. The eyes of Yahuwah thy Elohim are always upon it, from the beginning of the year even until the end of the year. And it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently unto my commandments, which I command you this day, to love Yahuwah your Elohim, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul, that I will give you the rain of your land in his due season, the first rain and the latter rain, that thou may gather in thy corn and thy wine and thy oil. And I will send grass in thy fields for thy cattle, that thou may eat and be full. Take heed to yourselves, that your heart be not deceived, and you turn not aside and serve other gods, and worship them. And then Yahuwah's wrath be kindled against you, and he shut up Shamaim, that there be no rain, and that the land yield not her fruit, lest you perish quickly from off the good land which Yahuwah give you. Now you notice he say the first rain and the latter rain. So we're going to look at something when it comes to those two things. First rain, latter rain. Try to see what those two things could be referring to and what it could be pointing us to. Because he told us that our land is not like the land of Mizraim where we left from, where you sowed seed and watered it with thy foot as a garden of herbs. What do you think that could mean right there when he sit back and he tells you that this is a land that Egypt was where you sowed seed and you watered it with your foot? Because he's really trying to point us to something and tell us something. Hold on one second. When we look at where thou sowed, that's the rod, that's to sow, scatter seed, or produce yielding seed, or to become pregnant, or to be sown. And when he tell you to water it with your foot, when we look at water, it's shakah, that's to give, drink, or irrigate, or the water to give, drink, or to be watered, or a variant. So let me see something with that former rain. I looked at it earlier. I just got to make sure I say it correctly. When we look at what this first rain is, and I'm going to explain that one point in just a minute. That first rain is your rain, and that's an early rain or autumn shower. And that's usually what falls in late October until early December, is what they have listed on here. Basically, towards the end of the 7th month till about the 9th month. When we look at the latter rain, that's Malkash, and that is the rain that falls in the beginning of the year, or towards the end of the year, or the beginning of the year. Basically, the beginning of the year. So when we look at the first rain and the latter rain, they'll be important for two reasons. When we look at it as it pertaining to the Ruach HaKodesh, and we're going to see why. It mentions the latter rain a little bit more than the former rain. I mean, the first rain, I should say. The latter rain has a little bit more importance, but the first rain is equally as important, even though it's not as mentioned as much. So when we sit back and he says that this is a land, it's not like Egypt where you came out, where you sowed your seed and watered the ground. Let's look at Ephesians chapter 2. I'll probably say about verse 3. When we look at this, that verse of Deuteronomy in a spiritual aspect, it's just referring to as that's a land that you worked yourself. And you're coming into a land that you didn't have to work. a land that was already meet and prepared for the receiving of the rain. Well, Egypt was not a land that was meet and prepared for the receiving of the rain. See, while we were in sin, we were not meet and prepared for the receiving of the rain. But when we come up out of Egypt or come up out of sin, then we come in be prepared to receive that rain or to receive the Ruach. It's something that you didn't produce or come up of your own volition. Y'all calm down in there. Little boy, little husky little boy. Let's look at back this right here, right? We just look at verse 1 in Ephesians chapter 2. And you have he quickened who were dead in trespasses and sins. That's the same thing what we're looking at when we came up in Egypt. We were dead in our trespasses and sin. Yeah, you sold the ground. You did your own works. You sought after your own will. You know what I'm saying? When we were in our ignorance, we did as we pleased. He said, where in time past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the Ruach that now work in the children of disobedience, among whom we also had our behavior in time past in the lust of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature children of wrath, even as others. But Elohim, who is rich in mercy for his great love wherewith he loved us, even when we were dead in sins, have quickened us together with Mashiach, by grace ye are saved, and have raised us up together and made us to sit together in Shamahim and Yahushua HaMashiach, that in the ages to come he might show the exceeding riches of his grace and his kindness towards us through Yahushua HaMashiach. For by grace are you saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is a gift of Elohim, not of works, lest any man should boast. See, now let's go back to Deuteronomy 11, because he said this is something that you can't even boast of because you didn't do this on your own. It's not nothing you earned. See, when we come back to Deuteronomy 11, and we look at how he said the land which you're coming into to possess, it's not like Egypt. You sowed seed and watered that in Egypt. He said it's a land of hills and valleys that drink water of the rain of Shamahim. This is a place that drinks in the water, a land that Yahuwah care for. His eyes are always on it. And he said if you hearken diligently, he'll give you this rain in its proper season so that you could gather in your corn, your oil, and your wine. So we need to look at the first part of when the first rain. In fact, we'll look at the latter rain first. We'll look at when the latter rain come about. But before we look at when the latter rain come about, let's look at something in Amos chapter 4. Actually, don't even look at Amos chapter 4. Job 37. Because that was in my mind, period, before we even began. Job 37 and 2. Job 37 and 2. Hear attentively the noise of his voice and the sound that go out of his mouth. He directed under the whole Shamahim, and his lightning unto the ends of the arrest. After it, a voice roar. Well, actually, we're going to have to do that first rain first since I'm taking this direction. Listen to what he tell you. Hear attentively the noise of his voice and the sound that go out of his mouth. He directed under the whole Shamahim, and his lightning unto the ends of the earth. After it, a voice roar. He thundered with the voice of his excellency, and he will not stay them when his voice is heard. He said, Elohim thunder and marvelously with his voice. Thunder marvelously with his voice. Great things do he which cannot be comprehended. We cannot comprehend. For he saith to the snow, be thou on the earth, likewise to the small rain, and to the great rain of his strength. He seal up the hand of every man, that all men may know his work. This man says he sits back and he seals up the hand of every man, that all men may know his word. But the key thing, he said, after his voice roars, and he thunders his voice of his excellency, and he won't stay them when his voice is heard. Let's look at what he means when he says he won't stay them when his voice is heard. When he sit back and he say he won't stay, or to supplant, or to circumvent, or to take by heel, or to overreach, or to supplant, or attack at the heel, or to hold back. So you know what? Now this something just came to my brain. Looking at that. Let's sit back when he mean what he say he won't stay them on the earth. He won't allow them to supplant. Let's look at Genesis chapter 27, about verse 33. And you hold Job 37. Genesis 27:33. Make it 32. Genesis 27:32. And Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, Who? Where is he that have taken... I'm sorry, that's not verse 32, that's 33. And Isaac his father said unto him, Who art thou? And he said, I am thy son, thy firstborn Esau. Isaac trembled very exceedingly and said, Who? Where is he that hath taken venison and brought it me? And I have eaten all before thou came, and have baruched him. Yea, and he shall be baruched. And when Esau heard the words of his father, he cried with a great exceeding bitter cry, and said unto his father, Baruch me, even me also, O my father. And he said, Thy brother came with subtlety, and have taken away thy blessing. He said, Is he not rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times, and he took away my birthright. And behold, now have he taken away my blessing. And he said, Hast thou reserved a blessing for me? Isaac answered and said unto Esau, Behold, I have made him thy master, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants, and with corn and wine have I sustained him. What shall I now do unto thee, my son? Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Baruch me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of Shamahim from above. And by thy sword thou shalt live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Now we look at this here. Troy, what you think this could be talking about if we sitting back looking at he won't allow anybody to supplant when he roars his voice? And now we looking at this story with Esau and Jacob. What you think this could be talking about? Or what I'm angling towards? I'll take that as you ain't got no rationale on that one. Well, let's look and see. He said his brother came with subtlety to take away my blessing. And he said he gave him a blessing. And that blessing is that he would dwell by the fatness of the earth, and his sword he would live. Well, we're going to look at fatness real fast in Genesis 27 and see what it means. You know, this what dudes like to say, they're talking about the white man. See, this is how you know Esau white, because he got the fatness of the earth. And all this old good old stuff they be talking about. When we look at the fatness of the earth, that word is mashman, and it's fatness, fat piece, or a fertile place, or richly prepared food, or basically a fertile spot or place. Now we've already just read in Deuteronomy chapter 11 how the land of Yasharal would be a fertile place, and it says that he gave Esau this same fertile place, and he said he even gave him dew from Shamahim above. And when we look at dew, it's tall and it's night mist. And he said he'll have the dominion and would break the yoke off his neck. Well, we're going to sit back and see what that could mean. Let me see. How will we want to take this route? Revelation chapter 9 is how we're going to take this route. Revelation chapter 9 is how we're going to take this route. Matter of fact, Revelation chapter 12 is how we're going to take this route. Revelation chapter 12. We're going to have to going to be able to discern what this could be talking about. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 7. I don't know, some people might not like this one. They might not like this. Still holding Job 37. And there was a war in Shamahim. Michael and his Malachim fought against the serpent, and the serpent fought and his Malachim, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in Shamahim. And the great serpent was cast out, that old serpent that was called the devil and Hashatan, which deceived the whole world. And he was cast out into the rats, and his Malachim were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in Shamahim, Now is come salvation and strength in the kingdom of our Elohim and the power of his Mashiach, for the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before Elohim day and night. The same way you just seen how Esau just accused his brother Jacob right before his father. Did the same thing. And they overcame him. Hold on, since the reason why I said this. Go to Malachi chapter 1. Because we sitting back looking at, in this situation, Esau will be representative of Hashatan in the framework of how we're looking at this pertaining to Job 37. It's not saying that white people are the devil or Arab people are the devil. just looking at this framework and seeing how this is going to fit into the man of sin. So just follow me on this. Malachi chapter 1. Malachi 1:1. The burden of the word of Yahuwah to Yasharah by Malachi. I have loved you, saith Yahuwah. Yet you say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith Yahuwah? Yet I loved Jacob and hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the serpents of the wilderness. Now, when we turn around and we sit back and we look at this here, we could look at Jacob and Esau in this framework, and Hamashiach and Hashatan. Because he loved the son. He said, this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. But he hated Satan. Because Satan went against him. Satan fell of his own pride and sought to do his own thing. So he said he laid his heritage waste for serpents in the wilderness. We could also look at Esau being the master in this instance. I think we've done it before, but we're not going to do it right now. When he's talking about laying in waste for serpents in the wilderness, because he surely got taken in by serpents, as John the Baptist called the scribes and Pharisees, you generation of vipers. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, they shall build. Hello? Hello? He said, they shall build, but I will throw down. They shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahuwah have indignation forever. Now, when we turn around and when we look at it, right, he said they'll build, but I will throw it down. And we will sit back and look at it as the beast will begin to build, and Yahuwah will throw it down. Because these are the people of his indignation forever. All we got to do is just swing around here to Revelation 14 real fast and look at it and see how these people are the people of his indignation. See, matter of fact, before we look at Revelation 14, look at Hebrews chapter 12 to see why these people be the people of his indignation. What did I just say? That just threw me off. Oh, Hebrews chapter 12, verse 13. Hebrews 12 and 13. Hebrews 12 and 13. That's a little high. 12 and 15. Looking diligently, lest any man fail of the grace of Elohim, lest any root of bitterness springing up trouble you, and thereby many be defiled. See that bitterness of Satan, see it strung up and defiled him. All you can see the bitterness that he had is how he came at Job when he said, if you do this to him, I bet he'd curse you to his face. Only bitter people do stuff like that. He said, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For you know that afterwards, when he would have inherited a blessing, he was rejected, for he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. See, remember what the master told you about those who would be rejected? There would be weeping and gnashing of teeth. See, they would do the same thing that Esau did. They're going to boo-hoo cry. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing to boo-hoo cry about, because you sold your birthright for a morsel of meat or for the pleasures of the flesh. Because he said those that hate the steak of Mashiach, their Elohim is their belly, they mind earthly things. Which is what Hashatan minds, which is why the master told Peter, you know what I'm saying? I rebuke thee, Satan, for thou savorest the things that be a man and not the thing to be Elohim. This is why Paul wrote to the synagogue in Colossians in his epistle. Seek those things that are above and not the things on the earth, where Mashiach sit on the right hand of Elohim, because your life is hid in him. This is the same thing that the beast is going to be tempting people with, is morsels of meat. Because he said you won't be able to buy or sell. If you won't be able to buy or sell, then you feel like you won't be able to sustain yourself and eat. So therefore, you'll sell your birthright for a morsel of meat, just like Esau did. See, people that sit back and even sit back and look at that the story of Esau selling his birthright is also can be representative of people who go to serving the beast, because you'll sell your birthright, because you'll say, what good is my birthright going to do me when I'm at the point of death? When this man go to talk about he going to behead you and kill you for not worshiping him, you're going to look at the birthright of the inheritance of the Kadeshim and light, or of the firstborn in Yahushua HaMashiach, that it's not even worth it, and you'll give it up so you can eat, so you can fill your belly, showing forth that you Satan's seed back from what's in Genesis chapter 3, verse 14, when he cursed the serpent to go upon his belly because he minds things of the earth, licking up the dust, and you'll show forth yourself to be his child. This is something that you have to consider. This is why we're looking at this from Job 37 and Genesis 27, because he said he supplanted me. See, Esau sitting back looking at not knowing the blessing that the elder was supposed to serve the younger, and that the younger was always to receive the blessing. See, Satan felt like he supposed to got it, and he supposed to rule. He wanted the same blessing that Hamashiach had, even though that he wanted the same blessing that Hamashiach had. Therefore, he was seeking to supplant him and take his place, because he felt like Jacob took his place when all Jacob did is attain to what was rightfully his from the beginning. Say that's how Satan wants to move. That's how the beast wants to move. He wants to supplant Hamashiach and take what's his. So his blessing is that he would have the fatness of the earth, or a fertile place. Well, we already been looking at this in the course of this week. That where was the beast? We just read it the other day in Daniel chapter 11. The beast will set himself up in Jerusalem. That is a fertile place. This is what the blessing was that Esau will receive. And that's the blessing that the beast will receive. He will get to dwell in that fertile place. And he'll live by a sword. Well, let's look in Revelation 13 and see how he will live by a sword. Hold on, let's read Revelation 14. My apologies. 14 and 9. So we can see how they're the people of his indignation. How Esau sees the people of his indignation forever. And he calls them the border of wickedness. Let me look at something and see what that means when he referred to them as the border of wickedness. Let's not be remiss. Hello? Hello?
Shalom.
Shalom. It calls it, and border is kaval, and it's the border or territory. And when we look at wickedness, it's rashah, or wickedness or guilt. Wickedness of enemies, or ethical or religious, or basically just wrong or having fault. And it says that Yahuwah will have his indignation against these people forever. When we look at indignation, it's and it's denounced or to express indignation, or to be angrily or to abhor. He called these people the border of wickedness. Let's see why. And the third Malachim followed them, saying, hold on. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, what's up, John?
What's going on? And the third Malachim followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Elohim, which is poured out without mixture, and to the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the Kadesh Malachim and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascend up forever and ever. And they have no rest, nor day, nor night, who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receive the mark of his name. So we see those that follow the beast, or follow Esau, will be the people of his indignation in the border of wickedness, because they would dwell in the tents of wickedness. Because they dwell in the tents of Satan. Because you would say you're impoverished. We don't have nothing. See, look at something in Revelation chapter 3. See Revelation chapter 3, verse 17. See, I'm going to sit back and look at it, right? Because see, the wicked seem like that they don't have none. He said, we'll rebuild. And he said, you can rebuild it, and I'm going to tear it back down. But let's look at something that this man said, because it's the opposite of what I'm talking about, but this is how the wicked feel when they say they're impoverished, even though they have more than enough. Matter of fact, after we look at that, we could look at James 5, where he tell you the same thing about the rich. He said, because thou say I am rich and increase with goods and have no need of nothing, and know not that thou art wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked, I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou may be rich, and white raiment, that thou may be clothed, and that the same of thy nakedness do not appear, and anoint thy eyes with eye salve, that thou may see. You know, the reason why these people are impoverished and broken It's because they seek to build after it's been destroyed, because the Psalm says they build in vain because they didn't build by Yahuwah. See, it's a lot of things we sit back and we try to do, and it ends up becoming worthless because we're not building it by Yahuwah. You're building it by your own understanding and desire. This is what the beast is going to do. Let's come back to Revelation 13, though, and just see how he's going to rule by a sword. Just don't see how he's going to rule 13 and 7. Sit back and see how the blessing that's given to Esau is, or the increase that's given to Esau is the same increase that's given to Hashatan, or to the beast. Because Yahuwah is allowing this man to do this, to fulfill his will. And we can see that in Revelation 17, if I'm not mistaken. Right here, I'm looking at Revelation 17 right now. 17 and 17 says, for Elohim have put in their hearts to fulfill his will and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast until the words of Elohim should be fulfilled. So this all y'all will. Y'all allowing this man to rule for a period of time. We know why this man's allowing you to rule for, this man allowing him to rule for a period of time. Before I read Revelation 13 and 7, let's look at Deuteronomy 13 and see why he's allowing this man to rule for a period of time. Because some people say, what type of God would do that? 13 and 1. This is the type of God that'll do it. Your heart got to be tried. And we'll look at James chapter 1 just for a wicked nigga that say Elohim tempting people. If there rise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and give thee a sign of wonder, and the sign of the wonder come to pass, wherever he spake unto thee, saying, let us go after other gods which thou hast not known, and let us serve them. Because you don't know the beast, you're going to go after him and serve him. Just because the false prophet give a sign and a wonder and bring down fire from Shamahim and work these things in your face, you're going to go after him? Thou shalt not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams, for Yahuwah your Elohim prove you to know whether you love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. See, the master had already, you can come back to Revelation 13. See, the master had already told you something in Revelation, the 3rd chapter. He said he would hide you, those that overcome. I don't want to quote the man wrong, so I'm going to just glance over it and paraphrase it real fast. He said, if you keep the word of his patience, he'll keep you from the hour of temptation, which will come upon the whole world to try them. Because your heart's going to have to be proven. Let's look at that James chapter 1, just in case a nigga say Elohim trying you. Because Elohim ain't trying nobody with nothing. It's the false prophet and the beast that's trying you. Yahuwah ain't doing nothing. The book tell you that. Surely Yahuwah do nothing. He's not going to come do nothing. 1 and 12. Baruch is the man that endured temptation. It's a blessing if you're going to be able to endure that temptation in that time. For when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which Yahuwah have promised them that love him. See, Esau was tried. He was hungry. And he was tried with a bowl of lentils. And he chose those bowl of lentils over the Baruch and the Elohim. Well, that's the same token when the beast come. He going to come try you with a bowl of lentils. And what you going to choose? To worship this man in his image and receive his moral? Or cleave to the birthright? Because that's a trying. That's a temptation. You being tried. Your heart is being tested to see if you love Yahuwah or not. Let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of Elohim. For Elohim cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempt he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed. Then when lust hath conceived, it bring forth sin, and sin, when it is finished, bring forth death. See, that desire for that meat to say, what good is my birthright, caused Esau to be rejected and to become the people of his indignation. Same difference. When you come around here with the beast, when you're tempted and your desire to save your own life, you done brought forth sin, and that sin is going to bring forth that eternal damnation that you read in Revelation 14. That's what it's going to bring. You're going to be just like Esau, weeping and crying, weeping and gnashing of teeth. So the reason why Esau is weeping, because he's been rejected. There's nothing left for him but fire and worms now. Yahuwah don't want you. Revelation 13 itself. What we building up to is the former rain. I think Yahuwah willing, I just say the latter rain for on the Shabbat. Because the latter rain, the first rain is what we're dealing with. The first rain deals with the coming of the master. The latter rain deals with Pentecost. And we'll just look at the first rain this evening. And the first rain that we started off at looking at this for those who are late is in Deuteronomy chapter 11. Where we started this at. 13 and 7. And it was given unto him to make war with the Kadeshim and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon their wrath shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So now we see the beast is also ruling by his sword, just like Esau is. Let's come back to Genesis 27 just to make sure we didn't miss nothing and the blessing that Esau got. Because now we see the beast is getting the same blessing. He got the fatness of the earth. The fatness of the earth is Jerusalem. That means a fertile place. He's going to rule out of Jerusalem. He's going to stand in the set-apart place like Paul wrote you in 2 Thessalonians, and the Master told you in Matthew 24. When you see the abomination of desolation stand in the condemned place, this man's going to stand in the set-apart city and say he's Elohim. So he was given the fatness of the earth. Why do you think this man is able to come and trod Jerusalem underfoot? Because the law already told you he was going to get it and be able to do it. That's what he gave him. That's what he gave him. He rejected him, but he gave him that. You'll get that for a short season. See, let's look at the other thing when he sat back and said it. When he said, I made him thy master, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. Say he made him your master. So let's look at a situation where we can see that Hamashiach is the master over Satan. Like Jacob is the master over Esau. Let's start in Romans chapter 15 first. 16, I should say. 16 and 17. And after we look at Romans 16 and 17, we'll look at John chapter 16. And after we look at John chapter 16, I think it's Matthew chapter 8 that I desire. And we'll show you how Mashiach is the master over Satan. Matter of fact, I got a couple other things in my head to go along with that. So you can see how this blessing, because now we're looking at this story of Jacob and Esau as Yahusha and Hashatan. That's how we're looking at it. This is why he say when he utter his voice, he will not stay them that's on their rest. He will not allow him who is trying to supplant his place to continue any longer. Romans 16 and 17. Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine which you have learned, and avoid them. For they that are such serve not our master Yahushua HaMashiach, but their own belly. And by good words and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple. Remember it say that the beast will come in shalom and deceive many. And with flattery, Daniel chapter 8, and with flattery and deceive many people. That's how Satan comes. That's how he came at Eve, and that's how he going to come in that last day. Even though he going to have a sword waiting to kill you, he going to try to get you with fair speeches and nice words. Got to be careful of that. For your obedience has come abroad unto all men. I am glad therefore on your behalf, but yet I would have you wise unto that which is good, and simple concerning evil. And Elohim Shalom shall bruise Hashatan under your feet shortly. The favor of our master, Yahushua HaMashiach, be with you. Amen. So you know that's in the law where he said he would step on Satan's head and Satan would bruise his heel. He's already showing you off the top. He's already showing you off the top that he is, Jacob is Esau's master. Hamashiach is Hashatan's master. Well, he's going to rule over him. He's the master over him. But let's go into it even more so and see why. In John chapter 16. John chapter 16. Hey, Husky boy. Go sit down, Husky boy. 16 and 8. And when he is come, he will reprove the world of sin and of righteousness and of judgment. Of sin, because they believe not me. Of righteousness, because I go to my Abba. And ye see me no more. Of judgment, because the prince of this world is judged. But how is this prince of this world is judged? Now this is what he's saying it was good for the master saying it was good for him to depart and send the Ruach HaKodesh, because then that would be that latter rain and not that first rain, which he's talking about. He sent the comforter, that's the latter rain. Because it would come around that time period. Well, actually not around that time period. That's what's going to get him up. But nevertheless. 1 John 3 and 8. And after that, Hebrews 2 and 13. Make it 2 and 12. First John 3 and 8. He that commits sin is of the devil, and the devil sinned from the beginning. For this purpose the Son of Elohim was manifested, that he might destroy the works of the devil. So it said the son of Elohim was sent to destroy the works of the devil, or he would be able to master the devil. Well, let's see how he'd be able to master him in Hebrews 2:12. Make it 2:14. For as much then as children are partakers of flesh and blood, and he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had power of death, that is, the devil. And he delivered them who through fear of death were all their lifetime subject under bondage. So when he's got to be able to the ability to destroy him that had power over death, which is the devil, he's showing you how Hamashiach is the master of the devil. Because it says Jacob would be Esau's master. Which means he would rule over him. We'll see that in Matthew chapter 8, for instance. You could even see that when the master was tempted of Hashatan. He ruled over him because he maintained to the word and he overcame him, showing that he was his ruler. See, Satan is only motivated by what feels good and what is desirable. That's why he's easily able to conquer so many people, because so many people are ruled and moved by their base desires, by their flesh. Matthew chapter 8 and about verse 28. Matthew chapter 8, verse 28. And it says, and when he was coming to the other side into the country of Gergeshenes, there met him two possessed with devils coming out of tombs, exceeding fierce, so that no man might pass by that way. And behold, they cried out, saying, What have we to do with thee, Yahushua, thou son of Elohim? Art thou come hither to torment us before the time? And there was a good way off from a herd of many swine feeding. So the devils besought him, saying, If thou cast us out, suffer us to go into the herd of the swine. And he said unto them, Go. And when they were come out, and they went into the herd of the swine, behold, the whole herd of swine ran violently down the steep place into the sea, and perished in the waters. And they that kept them fled and went their ways into the city, and told everything what was befallen to those possessed of the devils. See, he had power to tell these devils what to do, and that these devils feared him. As it tells you in Malachi chapter 1. And it tells you in Malachi chapter 1 how he say, if I be your master, where is my fear? It say even the devils do tremble. Let's look at that in James chapter 2. It say even the devils do tremble. And get Luke 4 and 33. James chapter 2, then Luke 4 and 33. James chapter 2, what is that? James 2 and about 17. Even so faith, if it have not works, is dead, being alone. Yet a man say, Thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works. Thou believe that there is one Elohim, and thou do well. The devils also believe and tremble. Remember, he say, serving with fear and trembling. They trembling because they know that he is their master and that he rules over them. Look at Luke 4 and 33. Let's look at what the people said when the master cast out some spirits, showing you that Esau is under Hamashiach, that Jacob is his master. (4 and 33). And in the synagogue there was a man which had a spirit of an unclean devil, and cried out with a loud voice, saying, Let us alone. What have we to do with thee, thou Yahushua of Nazareth? Art thou come to destroy us? I know thee who thou art, thou Kadesh, one of Elohim. Yahushua rebuked him, saying, Hold thy shalom, and come out of him. And when the devil had thrown him in the midst, and came out of it, and heard him not. Sorry, this page kind of ripped. In the midst he came out of it, and heard it not. And they were all amazed, and spake among themselves, saying, What word is this? For with authority and power he commanded the unclean spirits, and they come out. And the fame of him went out into every place of the country round about. So now you turn around looking at, he's showing you that he's the Lord over Esau. That the devils have no power against Hamashiach. The Hashatan has no power over Hamashiach. That's why the book say resist the devil and he'll flee from you. Because where the word of the king is, there is power. Where Hamashiach is, there is power. And Satan cannot overcome that nor overtake that. Therefore, you will show yourself to be his Lord. Because you will be dwelling in Hamashiach and Hamashiach will be dwelling in you. Let's come back to Genesis 27 and look at this again. Because you got to remember Revelation 16 tell you how it says 3 unclean spirits look like frogs come out the beast's mouth. But these unclean spirits have no power against the power of Elohim. They only have power when you don't have Elohim in you. You look at Genesis 27, still holding Job 37. So I'm going to tell y'all something. When we sit back and look at Hashatan say, Esau say, he has supplanted me these 2 times. When we look at the first time where he say he supplanted him the first time is when they were trying to kill Hamashiach at his birth to stop him from getting his birthright. You know, once he was born, Hashatan would be supplanted. This is why he tried to kill him. This is why Herod tried to kill him. And this is why Hashatan tried to tempt him. The second time Hashatan feel like he was supplanted is when Hamashiach died and rose. Because now he knows he's been rejected. This is why we didn't read that Revelation 12. Let me read that Revelation 12. I ain't finished that Revelation 12. Let me finish that. 12 and 12. Therefore rejoice, ye Shamahim, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the Arats and to the sea, for the devil is coming down unto you, having great wrath, because he know he have but a short time. Remember, the blessing of Esau is that he will rule by a sword. The beast is going to rule by a sword. And when he has his time to have the dominion, he's going to act a fool. The same way you seen that Esau wanted to kill Jacob. But when he came upon Jacob, he relented. It's going to be the same way that the beast is going to gather men together to fight against Hamashiach. But he'll be destroyed without hand, though, as the book says. Genesis 27. Yeah, she being dramatic. That's what she does, though. We look at Genesis 27. He's saying, his brethren have I given him to service. Well, we know all those who dwell in the Mashiach and who repent are born again, they become his servants. That's why the master told you, to whom he said, you can't serve 2 masters because you love one and hate the other. He told you, whoever you yield your member service to, that's whom you obey. Look at verse 40, what I'm looking at. He says, and by thy sword thou shalt live, and shalt serve thy brother. Shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So when the beast finally has his dominion, you will notice that it says he'll blaspheme Shamahim, blaspheme the Elohim and Shamahim, those that dwell in the tabernacle of Elohim, all of these things. Because now he feel like he's no longer bound. That dominion has been bust off and he's got that short time to rule. And he's going to slaughter anyone who doesn't worship him. Because let's look at Matthew chapter 4. That's all Satan wants. Then we'll come back to Job 37. We'll look at Revelation 13 just so you can see that it's Hashatan that's ruling. That's ruling the beast. Because that's all he's after. Remember, they just trying to mimic the Father and the Son. Hashatan trying to be Yahuwah and the beast trying to be Yahushua. That's all he's trying to do. Matthew 4 and 9. Or Matthew 4 and 8. And again the devil take him up into an exceeding high mountain and show him all the kingdoms of the world and the esteem of them. And he saith unto him, all these things will I give thee if thou fall down and worship me. Then saith Yahushua unto him, get thee hence, Hashatan, for it is written, thou shalt worship Yahuwah thy Elohim, and him alone shalt thou serve. Then the devil leave him, and behold, the Malachim came and ministered unto him. This is what the man is after. You sit back and you can see how the master had dominion over him. Hashatan ain't had no chance to rule and get off. Not where the whole world sit back and come to worship him. It say the whole world gonna wander after the beast. Revelation 13.
Hey. Let's shut up.
Revelation 13 and 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the names of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth the mouth of a lion. And the serpent gave him his power and his seat and great authority. Now he's got the dominion. The dominion's been broke off his neck. Now he can rule. Well, the yoke's been broke off his neck. He's no longer bound, and he can rule. And it says, woe unto the inhabitants of the earth, for the devil come unto you having great wrath, knowing but he had but a short time. And his sword is how he's going to live. He's going to kill so many people. Let's go back to Job 37. I'll read verse 4 again. Or verse 2 again. He said, hear attentively the noise of his voice and the sound that go out of his mouth. That's why I say, he that have ears to hear, let him hear. Faith come by hearing, and hearing come by the word of Elohim. Matter of fact, look at Sunday, Hebrews chapter 2. He said you need to hear attentively the words that come out of his mouth. See, this is what a lot of people don't do, and that's what ends up happening. Hebrews chapter 2 and verse 2. Matter of fact, verse 1 is what I want. Therefore we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip. He said you need to hear attentively to the words of his mouth, because if you don't, those things will slip. Matter of fact, hold this and go to Romans chapter 1. See what happens when you let them words slip. Romans 1 and 28. So what happens when you don't let them words slip and you don't hear attentively the words that come out of his mouth? And even as they did not like to retain Elohim in their knowledge, Elohim gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. When you don't take the more earnest heed to hear attentively to his words, then those things slip. And when those things slip, he give you over to a reprobate mind. When he give you over to a reprobate mind, you do things that are not right. Being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, whisperers, backbiters, haters of Elohim, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents, without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, implacable, unmerciful, who knowing the judgment of Elohim, that they which commit such things are worthy of death, not only do them, do the same, but have pleasure in them that do them. This is why many people have pleasure in the beast. It's why they'll fall in the hour of temptation. It's why they'll be tried, because they won't remember that they came up out of Mizraim, where you sold your own land and watered the land by your foot. You're going to sit back and think that you can do this on your own. That what need have you to Elohim, what purpose it is for you to serve him. Matter of fact, Malachi chapter 3, before we come back to Hebrews 2. This is what the beast's going to come at you with. This is how many people going to feel in that day. Malachi 3 and 13. He said, your words have been stout against me, saith Yahuwah. Yet ye say, what have we spoken so much against thee? Ye have said it is vain to serve Elohim. And what profit is it that we have kept his ordinance, and that we have walked mournfully before Yahuwah of hosts? That's how the people going to look at it. That's the same thing how Esau looked at it when he rejected his birthright for a bowl of beans. It's worthless for me to keep this man's ordinance. It's worthless for me to hold on to his word. Why would I hear attentively to what he had to say? Therefore, those things slip and you get given over to a reprobate mind. Then you do just like Esau did. You're going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Back to Hebrews chapter 2. 2 and 1 again. Therefore, we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip. For if the word spoken by Malachim was steadfast, and every transgression and disobedience received a just recompense of reward, how shall we escape if we neglect so great salvation, which at the first began to be spoken of by Yahuwah, and was confirmed unto us by them that heard it? Let's go back to Job 37. He said this stuff, that's why you need to hear attentively the noise of his voice and the sound that go out of his mouth. Because he said it'd be a sound that go off in the whole earth. You don't hear attentively to what the man has to say, you're going to let him slip. And it's going to be to your own detriment. You're going to be just like Esau. Look at verse 3 of Job 37. He directed unto the whole Shamahim, and his lightnings unto the ends of the earth. Well, we could look at this here in Matthew 24, just like the master said, as lightning go from the east to the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. He's going to direct it under the whole Shamahim. Everything up under the rat's going to have to serve this man because the whole family of Shamahim and the rats is named after Mashiach. It says, and after it, a voice roared. He thundered with his voice of his excellency. He will not stay them when his voice is heard. He will not allow those to supplant when his voice is heard. Let's see that in Revelation chapter 11, verse 17, and in Revelation chapter 19. Revelation 15 actually. Revelation 11:15. And the seven Malachim sounded, and there was great voices in Shamahim saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of Yahuwah and of his Mashiach, and he shall reign forever and ever. And the 24 elders which sat before Elohim on their seats fell upon their faces and worshipped Elohim, saying, we give thanks, O Yahuwah Elohim Al Shaddai, which art and was and art to come, because thou hast taken to thee great power and hast reigned. And the nations were angry, and thy wrath is come in the time of the dead, that they should be judged, that thou should give reward unto thy servants, the prophets, and to the Kadeshim, and them that fear thy name, small and great, and should destroy them which destroy the earth. Because now you got to stop those who are coming to supplant him. Because Esau is standing up saying that he's the master of the brethren, that all the people are his servants. Remember, we're looking at fatness as a fertile place. That's the blessing. Esau going to be in Jerusalem, or the beast going to be in Jerusalem, ruling. He said, you'll be mad. He'll be your master, and your brethren will be his servants, referring to Jacob. Now Jacob gonna come up and try to say that all things are his, that he's the master of all things, and that he'll make all people be his servants. When that's not the blessing that was given to him. He told Isaac, was very specific in telling him that's given to Jacob. You'll just get the fatness of the earth and the dew of Shamahim. So he sit back and he said, you know what? Now, so I'll let you rule by your sword too. Matter of fact, he said, I'll let you get dominion when you break the yoke of your brother off your neck. So when he got that 3.5 years to do his thing, that's when the yoke broke. But after those 3.5 years, because he sought to supplant his brother, to supplant Jacob, Yahushua got to come back there and stop him. He said, I will not stay him that's trying to supplant me. I'm not going to allow him to do it when I thunder my voice. We know that the book says Hamashiach going to come back with a great shout. And the trump of the Ark Malachim, and this is when he's going to stop this man. Because he said if it wasn't for the elect's sake, no flesh would be saved, so he's going to stop this man. Oh, excuse me. Revelation chapter 19. And 19. And I saw the beasts and the kings of the Arats and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, which deceived them that received the mark of the beast, and them that worship his image. These both were cast alive into the lake of fire, burning with brimstone. See, that's when he's going to go ahead and stop him that supplant after he roars void. He's going to toss these men alive. See, they don't get resurrected and get tossed in. He coming right back on the scene and tossed them in. Ugly for him. Let's go to Job 37 again. Just know that if you follow that man, you're going to get the same fate he getting. You just ain't going to get it when he get it. You're going to get it later. He getting his off the top. Verse 5 of Job 37 as we begin to wrap this up. Elohim thundered marvelously with his voice. Great things do he which we cannot comprehend. You know, he tell you that this man got a shalom that passed all understanding. An understanding that you couldn't even comprehend on your best day. The same way he sat back and told you that the eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor the heart has perceived what Elohim has for those that love him. Verse 6 says, for he said to the snow, be thou on the earth. Likewise to the small rain and to the great rain of his strength. And he sealed up the hand of every man, that all men may know his work. When we sit back and he say he sealed up the hand of every man that they may know his work, the same way the beast came to seal up every man that they might know his work, which his work will be a Hashatan, this is what he going to do for those that are of the resurrection, or that first reign, as we read in Deuteronomy chapter 11. And let's look at what that first reign would entail to in Daniel chapter 12 and verse 2, and then John chapter 5 and by verse 24. Daniel 12 and 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, and some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. So remember, he was referring to that rain. Small rain, strong rain. See, he'll seal up the hand of every man that they may know his work. Remember when the master rose from the grave, he taught his disciples that the whole book was about them and open their understanding. See, when you get sealed with the Ruach, you begin to understand and know the Son of Elohim, that you might increase in all spiritual wisdom and understanding, like we read the other night. Just like I told you the other night. With wisdom there is power, with understanding there is eternal life. That's why he say, get wisdom, but in all thy getting, get understanding. Because eternal life rests in understanding and insight. Because then you have insight on the Son and insight on the plan of salvation. That's why he seal up every man and you may know his work. Matter of fact, John 15 and 19. Say, I don't know, mother. I don't know. Actually, John 15 and 15. Say, I don't know, mother. Just seemed the thing to do at the time. Henceforth I call you not servants, for the servant know not what his master do. But I've called you friends, for all things that I've heard of my Father I've made known unto you. You have not chosen me, but I have chosen you and ordained you, that you should go and bring forth fruit, that your fruit should remain, that whatsoever you shall ask of the Father in my name, that he may give it to you. Remember what John 14 and 26 says, the Comforter, which is the Ruach HaKodesh, who the Father will send in my name, will teach you all things and bring all things to your remembrance, because he'll seal you in his hand, in your hand, that you may know his word.
Who is that?
Referring to the new covenant, the law in your heart and your inward parts, and he's saying, you shall all know me, from the least to the greatest. He say, knowledge of my righteous servant will justify many. The justification of faith in the Son of the living Elohim. And this is what that former, or that first rain, if you had this in you, this is what it's going to do. Romans chapter 8. And in Romans 8, about verse 8, or verse 9, Romans 8, and then 1 Thessalonians 4, and about 14 or maybe 15, and then Revelation 20, and call it a day. Romans 8 and 9. But you are not in the flesh, but in the Ruach, if so be that the Ruach of Elohim dwell in you. Now if any man have not the Ruach of Mashiach, he is none of his. And if Mashiach be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the Ruach is life because of righteousness. But if the Ruach of him that raised up Yahushua from the dead dwell in you, he that raised up Mashiach from the dead shall also quicken your mortal bodies by his Ruach that dwell in you. My apology, we supposed to read John 5:24. Now this is that first rain. That first rain comes toward, say, October. Say all the way to December or the end of the year, whatever the case may be. But we know that first rain is that resurrection of the dead, which you can sit back. Matter of fact, I'll just work it like this here. Before we stop. Now I got to work it like this here. John 5 and 24. Truly, truly, I say unto you, that he that hear my word and believe on him that hath sent me, have everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life. Truly, truly, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of Elohim, and they that hear shall live. That's why he say, hear attentively unto his voice. Because if you heard unto his voice before you hit the grave, you'll hear his voice to get up out the grave. For as the Father have life in himself, so hath the Son, so hath he given to the Son to have life in himself, and have given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man. Marvel not at this, for the hour is coming in which all that are in the grave shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, that they that have done good unto the resurrection of life, and they that done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. See, those that come up to the resurrection of damnation, they didn't hear attentively unto his voice. Therefore, they won't be partakers of that first rain. See, let's look what happens for those who will be partakers of that first rain in Matthew chapter 13. Matthew 13 and 37. And then 1 Thessalonians 4 and 14, or maybe verse 15, and then Revelation 20 and 4. He answered and said unto them, he that sowed the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world, and the good seed are the children of the kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. The enemy that sowed them is the devil, and the harvest is the end of the world. And the reapers are the Malachim. As therefore the tares are gathered and burnt in the fire, so shall it be at the end of this world. The Son of Man shall send forth his Malachim, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into the furnace of fire. There shall be wailing and gnashing of teeth. That's going to be important in a second when we look at this 1 Thessalonians 4 and 15, and then James chapter 5 verse 7 before Revelation 20. Just dealing with the first rain. Just dealing with the first rain. Well, verse 14. 1 Thessalonians 4 and 14. Yah willing, we'll deal with the latter rain on the Shabbat. For if we believe that Yahushua died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Yahushua will Elohim bring with him. For this we say unto you by the word of the Master, we which are alive and remain until the coming of the Master shall not prevent them which are asleep. For the Master himself shall descend from Shamahim with a shout, and the voice of the Ark Malachim, and remain until the coming. And with the trump of Elohim, and the dead in the Mashiach shall rise first. Now what's going to get them up but that first rain? Look at John 5 and 7. I mean James 5 and 7.
Yeah, that's it up.
Say a new one. Sound like somebody want to go to acting school or something. 5 and 7. James. Say, be patient, therefore, brethren, to the coming of the Master, before the husbandman wait for the precious fruit of the earth, and have long patience for it until he receive the early and latter rain. So he said he got long suffering and patience before he received that first rain. That first rain being in the time of tabernacles. So when we look at Revelation chapter 20 and verse 4. And I saw thrones, and they sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahushua, and for the word of Elohim, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands. And they lived and reigned with Mashiach 1,000 years. But the rest of the dead lived not again until the 1,000 years were finished. This is the first resurrection. Baruch and Kadesh is he that hath part in the first resurrection. On such the second death have no power. And they shall be priests of Elohim and of Mashiach, and shall reign with him 1,000 years. See that early rain, or that first rain, is that first resurrection of the dead. Hamashiach has much patience to labor to receive that first rain. And it comes in its due season. And we know that due season of the Master's return is tabernacles. We've looked at it in so many different ways. So we all know that we want to actually be a part of that first reign of those who were resurrected from the dead at that time. So hallelujah for Yahushua and the word. We stop right now.